Y'all, last Prowess Goes live of the year. I cannot believe it. Like, where did 2023 go? Where did 2023 go? It's insane. And I have been really excited about this topic in particular about online business managers and the evolution and what we're seeing and what we saw this year. So I'm really, really excited that you are all spending the next 30, 45 minutes with us. But to get started, as always, we're going to do a one word open. One word open. My question for all of you, and put it in the chat, and I'm going to give you some time because this one's tricky. What is one word that sums up this year? Put it into chat. What is one word that sums up this year? Think, think, think. When I was deciding on this question, there is a word that just immediately came to mind, and it was validation. This year has been so freaking validating for Prowess Project, for me as a working mom, for just a mom, for me as a human, for where I want to go. So again, I love, oh, good, we're having some come in. Okay. Different words, alignment. Okay, I know that one came from Leah. Alignment. 2023, growth. That's a great one, Natalie. Jennifer, joy. Love, love, love. Trisha, illuminating. I'm dying to learn more about that. Ashley, hi, hi, hi. Surprising. Ooh, I need to hear more. Christina, discovery. Very good. Pam, challenging. I understand. I definitely understand. Well, thank you all of us for being with thank you all of you for being with us live. As always, I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project. What do we do at Prowess Project? We help women who are either career pivoting to find something more flexible or returning from a career break become online business managers. So really that is the thought partner for the visionaries out there. We then take all the data that we gather from you as you go through our training and match you with your ideal client. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And today, the year in review. Okay. So first, it's hard to know where you're going as an online business manager unless you look back at what an online business manager is and how it got started. So I want to take you on a little path. The idea of an online business manager really did start almost 10 years ago. Um, and back then, an online business manager really was a glorified VA. This person did still a lot more of the admin tasks, but needed less handholding than a VA did. And so I want to share some of the top things that really transformed this year transformed this career in the past 10 years. Okay. Number one, integration of technology. That has been absolutely huge for online business managers. I mean, think about it, right? The more technology that entrepreneurs and businesses use, the more that an online business manager will need to manage. Like really when you take a step back and 10 years ago, the technology that an OBM had to work with was really like basic project management software and email. So that's what they had to work with. So that's what they were having to manage. So now think about it. And you are expected to be an expert in how all of these different technologies come together and work and are efficient and build all of these bespoke systems for all these different businesses. So you need to understand CRMs high level. You need to understand social media tools. You need to understand analytics platforms and dashboarding, and especially AI. And that's a whole other thing that we'll talk about. But that is going to explode this even further. So, integration of technology is one. The second is the shift towards remote work. So, a little story about Prowess Project when we started back in 2018, which was almost 5 years ago. And we were sharing this idea that we were only going to place women who were working remotely. As you can imagine, a lot of the employers that we were talking to were like, no, why would I ever hire someone who's not butts and seats next to me? Why would I ever hire someone who isn't in the same room that I can talk to? And now, with especially with COVID, that has catapulted a really probably 10 years in 1 year because of COVID. And so the good news is that is now there is more demand for the job of an OBM because there's more people who are working remote and we're all much more comfortable with it, right? So all of these communication skills that online business managers needed to cultivate digitally are now even more important than they were before. All right. Now, another shift, the rise of the solopreneur. And this is what I thought was really, really fascinating. Because of COVID, a lot of us were stuck at home and it was kind of an oh shit moment. What am I doing with my life? Do I like my career? Do I like the business that I'm working for? Am I passionate about the subjects that I'm in all day? Is there a dream that I could go pursue and maybe haven't given the time or thought? And so we're seeing this shift of all of these corporate, mainly high level corporate professionals leaving their 9 to 5 or oftentimes what, like 8 to 10 p.m. jobs and being like, look, I'm going to go out and work on my own. I'm going to go be a consultant. I'm going to go be a coach so I can have the flexibility, but also make money on my terms. So, because of this rise in solopreneurs, what are you seeing? A skyrocketing demand for OBMs to go run the businesses while the solopreneurs go out and grow it or go do whatever it is that they are coaching or consulting in. Okay. So we are seeing that again, just skyrocket the need for OBMs. And then the fourth one that we have really seen over the transformation of the last 10 years is a broader skill set needed for online business managers. Before, again, like I was saying, it was more of a glorified VA who basically knew how to create systems. Now, there is a lot more strategy expectations put on OBMs. And where I think online business managers are truly this diamond in the rough position in businesses is because they have the strategy, but also understand how to use technology to be a force multiplier in all the things that they go get done. So now, as a CEO who's looking for someone to help me in my business, who is looking for someone to do the operations, why am I hiring an expensive COO and then a VA to go do that work? Why would I do that? That sounds a lot more expensive. Those are two people that I am now managing. And anytime that you add on people, there is a risk of a communication breakdown. So if my options are those two or one person who is utilizing technology that will help me ultimately scale my business, I'm going to go that direction. And so we are seeing that over and over and over again. So top things that we are seeing from a expertise level in, and you don't need to be like 100% expert on all of these, but they're the usual suspects. Strategic planning, huge. Marketing, not necessarily what colors go with what, not necessarily branding, not necessarily copywriting, but understanding the demand gen and marketing funnel. We talk about that all the time. Pretty, I'm going to call it light financial management or planning. So that is some payroll. That is making sure that you can forecast and be like, oh, hey, Mr. or Mrs. CEO, we're in trouble if we continue down this path. Or, hey, Mr. and Mrs. CEO, we have a huge opportunity here if we invest in X, Y, and Z. Okay. So those are the four things. Then what has changed in the last year specifically? What has changed in the last year specifically? Not a surprise to anyone. AI, 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 especially Chat GPT, right? If you focus on learning how to use Chat GPT, it will catapult your career point blank. Point blank. There are so many other companies that are coming in and building software on top of Chat GPT. But really, if you understand the fundamentals of how to use that tool, you are going to be able, you're just going to be so much more dangerous as an OBM and can do so much more. So by leveraging AI, it is going to help your efficiency and really create a competitive advantage for you. There was the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. He actually said, I think it was this week, he was like, as a professional, if you are not using AI in your career, you're behind. You're already behind. And that's such a massive wake up call to people because the vast majority of people have maybe used Chat GPT once, the free version, and then probably we talked about this before, but probably like 10% have used the paid version. And of that, maybe like 2% or less have used the paid version of Chat GPT to do anything beyond copywriting. So huge opportunity. Do not sleep on AI. And hint, hint, that is what Prowess Project will be focusing a lot on next year. Hint, hint. So I'm going to actually pause there for a second. Any questions before I continue? Next, we're going to go into what we are seeing that clients are looking for in hiring OBMs. Wonderful. All right. Top things that clients are looking for when hiring online business managers. This is not going to surprise you in the least bit. Tech proficiency. They want to know that you have tech chops because, again, think about what we were talking about before. These visionaries, these solopreneurs, these people who are now needing OBMs and are kind of going out on their own. Think about their brain. They're the visionary. They're the relationship person. They're the big idea person. They are not the tech person. They are not the cross-eye dot T's. Yeah, exactly. You see why I'm not a detail person? They are not a dot I's cross T's person. So they need someone who loves this stuff, right? Is enthusiastic about learning technology and really understands technology and how it all works together. What clients are also looking for. I hear this one every single day when I get on phones with CEOs looking for OBMs. I need strategic thinking. I need someone who is going to have that ops logical brain and someone who is going to be thinking about my business. How do I do more with less? That is how they want you to be thinking. Someone gave me this great analogy the other day. The difference between a VA and an OBM is an OBM is batteries are included. And I thought that was so funny, but it made so much sense to me. Like the batteries are included. You can think for yourself. You have that strategy. Again, we love VAs. Are you kidding me? I love VAs. We have a wonderful VA right now. Absolutely love. And I think through power as an OBM is that you are asking the right questions, that you're coming in with a curious mind, that you have that background of scaling a business and business know how that you can bring to that business, right? Batteries are included. Love, 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 love that. Another thing that I hear all the time, communication skills. I need someone who is really great at communication. But what does that really mean? So when someone says, I need a great communicator, when they are talking to you about an OBM, ask for examples. Ask for examples. What does that mean to you? Give me an example of a time that someone communicated really well with you and someone did not communicate really well with you. And they'll start giving you insight into how they like to be communicated with. Oftentimes, what they really need is someone who can flex communication style, aka EQ, to the different people that they're talking to. You're going to speak very differently than you to your visionary than you're going to with a outside customer, right? So being able to do that seamlessly is really, really huge, especially in a remote work setting. As much as I love remote work and it is really helping opportunities for women to get back on top in the workforce, you need to be extra over communicative when you are in remote setting. You just have to. And so really nailing in those skills are huge. This one again, not going to surprise you. Being adaptable. Technology is changing so quickly in a small business. One of the huge advantages of a small business is they can move and adapt so quickly. Therefore, they are going to need someone who is willing to make those changes quickly as well. Now, that does not mean that you are a yes person. That does not mean, oh, Mrs. Visionary, today you wanted to go left, tomorrow you want to go right. Okay, let's go right now. You're the person who's saying, okay, you wanted to go left because you wanted A, B, and C. Is that still the strategy? It seemed like it was yesterday and it seemed like a really good one. And this one feels off track. But the fact that you're A, thinking through that, and B, our willingness to adapt should you need to is huge. Huge, huge, huge. Communicate early and often. Yes, yes, yes. Love it. Um, and then some others that I hear all the time, emotional intelligence. Y'all, being an OBM it is so, so, so huge to have that EQ down. It is so, 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 so huge. And again, oftentimes it's like communication where your CEO can't necessarily articulate what that means to them. So ask examples. Ask examples. All right. And then it's just the general management. Can you manage all the balls in the air? Can you keep all the plates spinning? If you can't, you are asking for help. You are telling them that things aren't working and you're coming up with a plan B. So, okay, I'm going to pause there for a second. What clients are looking for? Any questions on that before we continue? Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. Next, I want to talk about, and this one really excited me, the income potential for OBMs. The income potential. So again, 10 years ago, and let's take out inflation, right? Being an OBM, you did kind of teeter out at around 50, 60K a year. And that's if you were working full time. And I think that was because of all the reasons that we've discussed, right? There was less technology, there was less demand, um, there was less, I know demand and need is the same thing. There was just less, it was less advanced of a career. And so now we're seeing that OBMs are making up to $150,000 a year, if not more. And when diving into this a little bit more in my research, of course, what I immediately asked is, okay, how do we get to the 150? And all of you are going to be like, oh my gosh, Ashley, quit it, quit it, quit it. We've heard this 1,000 times, but y'all, guess what kept coming up over and over and over again? Niching. Niching, niching, niching. There are riches in niches. The more specific and the more experience you get in a certain segment of the market, a certain industry, a certain problem that you are solving, typically the more money that you can be niche. Jinx, Natalie, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Yes. And I am seeing this all the time. All right. Now, with that, of course, there's the niche, but also it is your industry growing? Is that industry one with high margins? There's a ton of other things that you really need to think about. And we will touch on that in a little bit when we talk about what are the fastest growing opportunities for OBMs. But again, I wanted to share how important niching is in increasing your rates. Another one that we see all the time, and yes, Jennifer, you are correct, is skill enhancement, especially in AI. That is another way that we are seeing OBMs really increase their rate. And think about it, it's an easy sell. If you can do more with less time because you can leverage tools, you are worth more. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. So again, when you're thinking about next year and you're planning and you want to think about focus and you want to think about where you are leveraging your own time and research and growth efforts, really consider AI. Secondary to that is digital marketing. I'm hearing that all the time. We talked about that before with the demand generation. Digital marketing is really huge. Almost always I get CEOs are saying like, can they also do Facebook ads? And oftentimes I say no. But if that is something that you really wanted to dive in, is like, hey, I can do all of these systems and I can dabble in ads too, that could be a great one. And this is an example, right? There's plenty of others. And then the last one that we're seeing all the time, and again, is a great way to increase your rates, is specializing in data analysis. Specializing in data analysis. That is how a CEO can move forward. They need to look backwards. They need to look at all of the data in order to make the most informed decision. If you know how to analyze data, what data is important, what data is not, what data points are important, that is really huge. Okay. Next is proven results. Again, not a big surprise here. The more case studies you have, the more testimonials you have, the more people that you have solved a problem for, the more you can charge. The more you can charge. And then lastly, I thought that this one was interesting. It came up sometimes, but not as much as all of the others. And it is really creating a personal brand around you and what you can do as an online business manager. And I share this one because, yes, there is no doubt that, the stronger your brand, the more you can charge. But I just caution you, if you are starting out, yes, it's important to have a brand. Yes, it's important to look buttoned up just like any professional, but I wouldn't over index your time, effort, money into a brand when oftentimes what we see, OBMs get jobs through word of mouth. And those I would focus on case studies over brand any day. Any day. All right, questions on how to increase rates next year. Wonderful. Okay. Um, the last major thing that I want to talk about are opportunities for next year and beyond for this career. And a lot of it is going to summarize what we've talked about before. But really, I'm gonna man, y'all are like, Ashley, you're a broken record. And I know. But AI optimization, what I hear from all of the CEOs out there is, I know that I need to know about AI. I do not have the brain space nor the give a shit to figure it out. And so if you can be that person that is like, do not worry, I got you covered, you are going to have a very efficiently running business. That is music to their ears. It is like angels in the sky opened up. Like, that is really huge. Another one that is growing very, very quickly is sustainable business practices. Thought this was very, very interesting. Is focusing on really this whole wave of Gen Z. We're seeing that they care to work with, as in being employed by, and give their money to, be customers of, and partner with businesses who are doing great things for the world. So considering being an OBM for those type of businesses could be very lucrative, especially as the wallet size of Gen Z gets more and more, especially in the corporate realm. And then lastly, and this one I'm excited to go through, expanding into emerging markets, right? And so I did some data deep dive on what are some of these emerging markets that we as OBMs, as we're trying to figure out our niche, as we're trying to figure out a focus, as we're trying to look into the next couple of years, where are these? Who needs OBMs? Who are most likely to be in a remote setting? Who are most likely to want to move forward and lean into AI in their businesses? And these are the ones that came up time again. Number one, health and wellness industry. Health and wellness industry. So probably not a big surprise, but with COVID, we're seeing a massive change from health needing to be in person to, hey, I'm taking my health online, and then also personalized health. So, what does it mean for Ashley Connell's body to do all of these different things? And how do I get as much custom care as possible? We're seeing a ton of businesses popping up because more and more people care about this. It will grow in the next 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. In the next 3 years, 25%. Massive growth here, guys. Massive growth. Next is e learning. And so this is a lot of your courses. This is a lot of, it could be coaching, but how does someone else teach someone else in the online space, right? These are a lot of the things that we talk about a lot, coaches, consultants, etc. Um, in the next 10 years, this industry will grow 14% to approximately 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. And remember, y'all need 4 clients, right? Like you don't need 100, you don't need 400, you don't need 1% of the market. So massive opportunity. Next is and this is kind of a subset of the health and wellness fitness industry online. And we're seeing a lot of that, like obviously with Peloton, and I'm seeing a lot of the coaches that I used to follow now have coaching online so people can do it at home. We're seeing that market size will increase in the next 10 years, 32%. 32%. Huge, 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 huge. So I share all of those, but the ones that I hear most often from the OBMs that go through our training and the OBMs who are building their businesses with Prowess Project are two ones that I really, really love and are, close to my heart too. And I was excited to see how much these were growing. First, social commerce market. The social commerce market. And again, this goes more into like social impact businesses, but with the rise of Gen Z, obviously this is growing, but I want to give you the data behind it. So by 2030, it will grow 32%. 32%. 32%. So if you are on the forefront of that, that is a massive opportunity for you. And then lastly is green technology. We hear that all the time. How do we help our earth? If I am going to spend time away from my family, if I'm going to spend time away from my hobbies or traveling or all these things that I want to do, I want to make sure that it's doing something for good. Green technology, sustainability. This will increase by 2030, it will increase by 21%. 21%. Y'all, these numbers are massive, massive. And so, again, y'all know I talk about niching all the time. Next year, I am dedicated to bringing in more experts on niching because I think it's a huge opportunity for OBMs. And I want to bring in people who think differently than I do about niching. As a lot of you know, I go straight to like, okay, what industry are you going to niche in? Because that's just the easiest way to really think about it and to create a brand and pinpoint people. But there are so many other ways. So if you heard these different niches and there you were like, these don't really speak to me because these are all industries. Well, stay tuned. We will be bringing more content next year to really help you flesh that out. All right. Okay, in 30 minutes, I'm not gonna lie, that was a lot of information. My head is spinning. Any questions before I sign off for the rest of the year? We are taking 2 weeks off of our live show, one for rest day, and another we are talking to the OBMs in our job pool and in OBM University and doing an even deeper version of what we talked about today. So, any questions before I hop off? Um, or really anything you want to know about what we've seen in the past year, 10 years in the OBM world? Pam, great question. AI is vast. Where to start? Chat GPT? Yes. Chat GPT. Do the paid version. It's worth it. Worth it, worth it, worth it. We also have check out on our YouTube channel. Leah does a tech tutorial each Tuesday, and she's done several last ones on AI. I think there's a bit on learning prompts. I think there's a bit on what you can even do with AI just in general. So definitely check that out. Any other questions? Wonderful. Okay. I will see all of you back on January 10th. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful holiday season. I hope you get to relax. I hope you get to think about next year. I hope you get to really figure out, hey, where do I want to be 365 days from now? And how do you get there? Hope Prowse Project can help. Bye, y'all.